I just had a chord progression I really liked, and I started singing about my favorite subject, you know. And so it's really just about how, you know, God's mercy is new for us every day, and we all have free access to it. And then the chorus is just I'm in love, you know. And it's just like a song of really how it is. It's just how it is. So, and I love the music. It's just, I know Mark brought this like new life to it with his guitar. It's like, kind of did that with every song now. It's like, man, that guy's so good. So it's just fun. It's been fun. The newer songs have been really fun, and some of the older songs have been having him bring some life to it. It's been good. It really was like me thinking about the roots of the vineyard, you know, especially the second verse, when it talks about healing, and it says, I hear weeping around me, tears of healing the Spirit brings. I hear the moving of angels' wings and all their voices as they sing. And it was really like just thinking about when I was a kid, going to Anaheim Vineyard when I was in a gymnasium, and what was going on during the worship. It was like John Wimber on the Rhodes, and Eddie up and Carl Tuttle, and Barefoot Jerry, and this guy Dick Hine on the drums, and just being there as a kid and watching what would happen during worship, even like literally people getting delivered from demons and people getting healed without anyone touching them. It was just a sovereign move of God. And it's just like all you can say is glory to you, God, you know. And so that song, it's like it was just really me thinking about how I got to experience, and you have too. A lot of us have. We were there, you know. And whenever that happens again, which it still does, it's just an expression of our gratitude for God and breaking into church where we should expect him to break into. But over the years, sometimes it's like I think we've gotten a little harder to expecting God to really do the things he said that he'll do. But he still does it. Never stopped. You know, and that's just a response to what he does. I went to a Kirk Franklin concert. I think he has a song called Brighter Day too, so I totally probably ripped him off without knowing it. But it's like, but what influenced me so much was just this gospel music that was so filled with high praise and joy, and I'm like, I want to write songs like that, you know. It's like I want the Vineyard where we have all these songs of intimacy, but I want to praise God, you know. And then I have a friend of mine, my neighbor down the street named Jimmy, he's like been this major inspiration of a praiser, you know. He just like thanks God for everything, and so that's where that song came from. It was just me wanting to just say, I want to lift my hands and say thank you for a brighter day, you know, just like just a praise song. I've had a few good friends die, and just I don't know. I think about heaven a lot, and I just think that it's comforting to think of it in a way that that's really our life. You know, this is like how the word says this life is a vapor. You know, it's nothing in the big scheme. You know, so I just think about that passage in the Bible about death. Where is your sting? Where is your victory? Because it's nice to think about that, because it's truth. And even when things are going not so good, times can get hard. You know, really, what can the enemy do to us? You know, I mean, we can have, even if we suffered for 50 years on this earth, or 80 years on this earth, if you lived a life of suffering, having Jesus, nothing else matters. It's like, I actually think, I was telling this to a lady here who's the children's pastor, Lynn, and she has brittle bone disease or something like that, and she's been in a wheelchair for most of her life, and it's weird. I told her this too, and I don't know if it's the Lord, maybe it's the Lord, but I just told her that, you know, she's just impacted so many people's lives by how she lives, how she has joy in the midst of suffering. And so I felt like that, you know, I just told her, I go, this might be the Lord, it might not be, I don't know, but I just said, I really feel like that when we all go to heaven, when we're all there, God's going to say to you, I chose you. And I just have, whether that's true or not, or whether that's the Lord or not, I like to think that that's how God thinks of her, because she's, I know a few people that suffer their whole life. My bass player's wife's another one, has rheumatoid arthritis, and she's the same way, and she's just filled with life and joy. And so people are always looking at them going, how does she do it? How can she have peace in her life, suffering with pain all the time, you know? And I honestly felt like the Lord showed me that one day he's going to look to them and say, I chose you. And good job, well done, good and faithful servant. Because their life made a huge impact just by the way they walked and talked and lived, you know? And I think one day they'll even see all the people's lives that were affected by just the way they lived in their pain, you know? Whether that's true or not, I think it is. So death, where is your sting, you know? Yeah, it's just another song about grace, you know. I'm well aware that I'm a sinner, don't need reminding that I'm weak, you know, because I hold the hand of mercy. I know the place of peace under the shadow of your wing. So those songs always ring true to me, you know, just because I'm a big fan of grace, you know. It's like we all need it so bad, so yeah. That's a song John Barnett wrote, who's a good friend of a lot of ours. And him and Marie were worship leaders at our church, and they moved up to Montana. But me and John and Ryan Delmore were at this National Worship Leaders retreat or conference or whatever it was in Colorado this last year, and we led worship. Me and Ryan led one night, and then John led on a morning session, and so we backed up John, and he did that song. And I'd heard that song because he had a little demo of it, but I never heard that song like that happened that morning when he led it. And so I knew, like, right then, I'm going to take that song home and do it, you know, and I'm going to tell everybody I wrote it. I'm just kidding. No, I gladly say he wrote it because he's such a great songwriter. And so anyway, so we just kept doing that song. And so what really made it come to life is when Mark started playing on it, and it's just the bits that happen in between the verses, the instrumental stuff was what was like, we got to do this song, we got to record it. So anyways, I just love that song. My wife used to suffer from panic attacks, and this was just, I don't know, not even a year ago. She felt one coming on again, and it was such a bummer because she had them for like 6 months every day. She like lost a bunch of weight, and she was just doing horrible, and she was just thought she was gonna die all the time. She was just always crying, and it was tough because we have three little boys, and so she didn't want them to see her in that way, but she was having major anxiety and panic attacks. And so that was, 9 years ago, and she was healed by the Lord of those, like that. It was amazing. And that's another story. But anyways, this one, she had this feeling of panic coming on her. And I was just like, crying out to God, just saying, God, please heal her. Don't let this come back, please. And I had my guitar, and I'll show you. So I just started playing this. Just like over and over again. And that's all I had for the whole song. And so I just kept playing that over again, and then, and honestly, while I was playing that, I have this picture of my wife on my computer, and she has no makeup on, and she's like smiling and like looking up to heaven with her eyes closed. And so that picture just came in my mind. I saw these blue sparks coming down from heaven, and in this picture, she's just, her hair's pulled back, and so these blue sparks just like come down from heaven. They just went right in her forehead, right, like permeated into her mind, And I knew it was the Lord. And so, I was just playing this song, and I saw that. And then I just started singing, have you ever pictured heaven? And I just started singing that song. And literally, it was one of those songs that, like Mark had talked about before, that it was like I couldn't write the words as fast as they were just coming to me. So it's just a song about heaven. And it was the only time that I've ever gone home and said, I wrote a song, I want you to hear it. I mean, I've done that a bunch with my wife, I want you to hear it. She's like my best and worst critic, because she'll be brutally honest. But I just said, I just played that song for her, and she just literally just started crying. And it would really minister to her. And the cool thing is I've been able to share that story at different churches that I've gone around to, and then been able to pray for people with panic disorder or anxiety. And that song's really ministered to other people with panic disorder and anxiety. So it's cool. It's good.